Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of The Worthy Woman. And today I want to start with something a little different. So two people can have the exact same business, the same results, the same opportunities, and one might be thinking this isn't working, and the other person is thinking this is about to take off. So what's the difference? I want you to think of this as like looking at a cup that's half full or half empty. Someone who is more optimistic about their business is going to see the cup as half full. Someone who is more pessimistic about their business is going to see it half empty. And so this is not just about being positive, right? It goes way deeper than that. And, you know, there's kind of this aspect of like how we see our business is about our perception. So we can have the same reality, but interpret things very differently. And you probably even see this with like people in your life, right? Like you might be like, well, this gives you the opportunity for blah, blah, blah. Like if you're optimistic, you typically see where people are being very pessimistic about certain things in their life. And so our perception and how we see things and how we see our business is this like filter, this lens in which we view things in, right? So when we look at business, it's like, okay, let's say you have a launch and the launch kind of flops, right? It just doesn't really turn out the way you thought. You could look at it and be like, I failed, like I'm failing, right? Versus you could be like, you know what? I learned a lot from this. There's good feedback here. Let me tweak this and let me improve it for the next time so that I have more success, right? Maybe you have low engagement on posts or social media or whatever. You might think if you're more pessimistic, like, oh, nobody cares, like, what's the point, right? Versus if you have more of an optimistic lens and viewpoint on it, you might be like, okay, this needs refinement. How can I tweak this? How can I improve it? Right? And kind of looking for that growth aspect. And so your business, yes, it responds to the actions that you take, but it also responds to how you see it. And how you see your business also influences the actions that you take, right? So there's kind of this cycle, this loop that you can kind of get stuck in depending on what your viewpoint is. And I was listening to what inspired this podcast episode was I was listening to a video and it was talking about like the killers of success. And one of this was like the viewpoint, right? Your perception. What is your perception on your life, on your business, on what's possible for you, right? And this is why we can't just think of like, we can just like be positive, right? Because sometimes that feels fake. Like sometimes it feels very forced because deep down inside, either we don't actually believe that or our body doesn't really believe it or is not on board, right? And I talk about this all the time, like getting your brain and your mind, like your brain and your body on board and like, being in alignment. And your brain will always default back to these old patterns, especially when there's deeper rooted beliefs and conditioning around, again, what's possible based on what you see or what people have told you, right? And so optimism is not a choice when your system feels unsafe. So when you are dysregulated, you've got these other, systemic beliefs, optimism can be sometimes really challenging. And so it's really hard. And if you've ever been in a mood, we'll say, when you're feeling kind of more pessimistic and you just want to like burn everything down and be like, what the frick is the point, right? If you've ever been in that and someone's like, well, just look at the bright side, you just like want to punch them in the face, So it's not something that you can necessarily shift without this nervous system piece, this energetic piece, because in that moment you're like, that is not helpful. And like, sure, sounds easy, but like, it's not that easy, right? And so it can be very challenging to kind of like kick yourself out of it and shift out of it. And so this is where subconscious belief stuff and work and energetic work comes in handy, because we can use these things to start to shift our energy, start to shift our nervous system, and then we can also start to clear some of these limitations and these things that are making us view our life and our business from this more pessimistic place. So subconscious beliefs are kind of more of like the root layer. And some examples are like, oh, this won't work for me. I'm not good enough. People aren't going to buy from me. And this distorts your perception because neutral situations, like they can sometimes feel negative, right? Like if nothing's happening and it's just kind of like your business just kind of like is in this like space where it's like nothing's happening, good or bad, it can feel negative because you're like, well, it should be going in a certain direction, right? Opportunities can feel risky. As what the guy had said in this video, everything's risky. Life, the second you're born, is risky, right? And so what is the risk that you're willing to take for what it is that you want, right? Like staying in a job could be risky, but so is starting a business, right? Like it just is like, what do you really want, right? And sometimes also our progress can feel very invisible, right? So we can be taking action, we can be doing things, and like things are maybe moving forward in your business, but maybe you're not making more money, right? And so it's like there can kind of be this like, well, where's the reward for the work or the progress that I've been making? And so we don't always see our business like as it is. We sometimes see it through what we believe is true. And so our beliefs kind of like trump this reality sometimes. And this is why it's so important to play with your reality and, like think about, okay, like create new beliefs. Your brain actually doesn't know the difference. Like if you think of something in your mind and you're like, okay, I want to receive a check for $1 million. If you constantly reiterate that to your brain from a vision, like a perception in your brain actually doesn't know the difference of like you just thinking about it versus the reality, like in your tangible, like your brain has no clue what's real, what's not real, which is sometimes terrifying to think about, but it's also cool because we can play with that, right? So how can we start to shift our beliefs so that we can see our business in a different light, right? And I've noticed within myself, the nervous system, right? So this is a big piece where people kind of ignore. When you are dysregulated, you're constantly going to be scanning for like a threat around you and your business, right? So your brain's always looking for like danger or rejection or failure, like how this couldn't work, right? Like what could go wrong, essentially, right? And so you literally cannot access optimism when you're in these places, right? Because if you're in fight mode, you're going to be frustrated. If you're in flight, you're going to be anxious. If you're in freeze, you're just going to feel stuck, right? So your dysregulated nervous system will always interpret your business through fear. And I have seen this, like when I have days that are like, I'm a little more down on myself, or I'm a little more like low energy, or I'm feeling a little dysregulated, or, I feel maybe tense and tight in my body, or I'm like, my mind's all over the place. I don't see my business from a positive place. I can get really down on myself. I can start judging my business and where it's at and what's been going on in it, how much money I'm making and how much effort I'm putting in versus what I'm getting out, right? I can kind of feel very, we'll say, stunted in what I feel is happening in my business. And this is truly because I'm just dysregulated, because the next day, if I'm more regulated, I'm like, oh, we're going to do this and take this and this is going to happen. And like, oh, this has this potential to take off, right? Like your perception and your outlook on your business and your life can totally shift. And I think as women, understanding our cycle, like our menstrual cycle, even in our hormonal cycle, is important here, because we can have these highs and lows from an emotional, hormonal perspective that influence our nervous system. We feel very different day to day, unlike men, right? And this can kind of throw off our perception, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever been in your luteal phase and you just want to like burn your entire business down. It's probably a nervous system piece. And you probably just need more sleep, and you probably just shouldn't be doing as much, right? Like, it's like maybe you just need rest, right? So we have to kind of pay attention to our nervous system, because it's a big piece that we don't always see when it comes to our business and what is possible for our business, especially when we're trying to reach new heights and grow and expand, or even get a business off the ground, right? This is where a lot of people can get stuck. And I've seen this with people in my life. It's like one day they're good, the next day they're burning it down and switching what they're doing, and then they're good, and then they're coming back around to this opportunity, and then they're like, fuck this all, I'm just going to burn it all down, and like, this is dumb. And they just get caught in this loop and nothing ever moves forward, right? And so it can actually prevent our business from moving forward because we're not able to consistently view our business from a good place. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to view it that way, but at least if you have the tools to bring yourself back around and again, change your mindset and your beliefs and what's happening in your body and as a response, you're going to be able to be way more consistent, even if you do have a day that's like a little bit more low, right? Then we have our energy, and our energy influences, again, what we notice, what we expect, what we allow into our world, right? What we see, what we don't see as opportunities. And so there's kind of this like, with our energy, we can have this contraction and where it's like more protective, or we can have this expansion that's more open, right? And so when our energy is more contracted, our world can look very limited, right? When it's more expanded and open, possibility becomes visible. Like we can see opportunities around us. We can see the next action we should take because we have this clarity and like, oh, I can do this. And like, this will, move in this direction, right? The more that we can work on our energy, it's also going to regulate our nervous system, and you're going to clear any limiting beliefs that you have that are, again, affecting how you see your business, like what you see in your business, the opportunities you see around you, and what you're capable of taking on in order to grow. And so how this all comes back into business is this. Your pessimistic lens or your more negative viewpoint, I always call it like the bah humbug. It's going to create hesitation, inconsistency. It's going to prevent you from like not showing up the way that you want, right? Or not showing up as much. Whereas when you're in this more optimistic, more regulated lens, you're going to have action, you're going to have creativity, you're going to have clarity, direction, resilience, right? Like you're going to be able to move forward because you see your business and your life through this lens, right? So your results aren't just coming from the actions that you take and the things that you do in your business. They're coming from how you perceive what it is that you're doing, right? And this is a huge piece that can totally shift your business and the trajectory when you believe that you are moving forward and things are happening and things are going to happen and they're already available for you. That gives you so much power in your business and so much, I don't even want to say like movement forward, because I just feel like it gives you the stability, it gives you the foundation energetically that you need to show up every day in your business the way that you need to. So step number 1 of how to change your perception. You first have to notice your default, right? So we have to have this awareness. We have to notice our default and how we interpret things, right? What do you make things mean, right? When things are kind of slow in your business, do you automatically feel like that's like your business, shutting down? Or is it just a slow moment and that's okay? You can actually take this time to rest because things are going to pick up in the future, right? Or things are coming. So how are you noticing, like, what are your thoughts? What are the things that pop into your head? How does your body feel when you have things that happen in your business? And where does your mind and your body kind of go with that? Then from there, we need to regulate. So let's say you're like, my business sucks. It's not moving forward. Should I just give up on everything, right? Because I'm not making as much money as I want to be making. So you start to question, should I burn it all down? So you have this awareness that you're thinking this way. Then we want to regulate. So step 2 is regulation, and then we can reframe. So we want to do things like breath work, movement, grounding, maybe go do like something fun for yourself, like get out and socialize, right? We can't reframe from a survival mode. So we have to do something to shift our internal state. And that's going to be through your tools, your practices like meditations, or again, if you struggle with meditation or you're in a place where you're like, I don't think meditation is going to be good for me right now, do something with movement. Go for a walk, do some yoga, do some breath work, like go do something, move your physical body because you probably need to move your body. Then after that, we have step 3, which is now we get to reframe. So now we get to do the subconscious and the identity and the energetic work. So we want to start to embody and start to give ourselves this repetition, right? So we want to maybe do some affirmations, subliminals. Maybe you are putting some notifications on your phone so that they pop up like notifications telling you that like, oh, money just landed in your account or whatever, right? What are the little tools that you can start to integrate to shift your thoughts, we'll say, of what you're seeing is possible, right? We can embody that through, again, this work. We can do meditations here. We can do hypnosis here. We can do the Reiki kind of comes into this piece as well. Right, we can start to shift that internal narrative around what is possible for us. And we're going to be able to absorb it more because we're regulated. So we need to have step 2, right? And then we can move to step 3. And then step 4 is the energetic work. And so this is kind of like the Reiki piece of like clearing this emotional charge, opening yourselves up, like your energetic body, opening it up to receive more, opening up your capacity to just like handle more and have more and see opportunities, right? And so this energetic work can clear the old and also open you up for what's new, right? Or what you maybe need to see. So those are the 4 steps that I would take to start to shift your perception. And depending on where you are, you might be doing some of this already. And so what is the next step that you need to take, right? It's not about building a business and then thinking like it's not working. You have to start to allow your body and your system to feel regulated, feel safe, feel calm, kind of. I don't always like using that word. So that you can see it as working, right? It's not that your business isn't working. It's that your system or your body or, your subconscious mind might not be believing or seeing it as safe to, that it is working, right? That you are making progress. It just might be like you identify certain things with failure, right? And when we can start to shift that, that's when everything starts to shift in your business. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, that you're kind of stuck in some of these patterns and, your mind kind of goes to these places of like doubt or feeling overwhelmed or like your business starts to feel really heavy and, you're just like not really sure how to get out of these routines, we'll say, these patterns. This is exactly what I do inside my Business Energetic Breakthrough bundle. And so we're not just changing and looking at strategy here from a marketing perspective. We're actually not looking at that at all. We're changing how you experience your business from the inside out. And when you can start to do that, you'll start to attract new things. And you're going to, again, shift your awareness, shift your perception so that you see your business differently, so that you're able to move forward with it consistently. So if that is something that you feel like you need, the link for that will be down below. Like I mentioned in my last podcast episode, I am on Substack, and subscribing there will kind of give you this ability to get these updates of like when these episodes come out, as well as my other like readings and educational videos, like YouTube videos, meditation subliminals that I'm posting as well. So if you want to get updated with the new content that I have coming out, feel free to join us there. The link for that will also be down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here as always. And we will see you guys in the next episode that comes out next week. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully this made sense for you. And again, if you have any comments, things like that, questions, pop those down below. If you're on YouTube or if you are following me on Instagram, you can shoot me a message. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week.